I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. My life has value.
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Global Watchman News, exposing satanic world government. I hope you guys are all doing well. If you are in the live chat, we do ask to keep it family friendly. There will be moderators in there to make sure that we stay within the terms of service put forth to us by the platforms we're utilizing tonight, which is YouTube and Facebook. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Take a minute to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you know we go live. If you are over on Facebook, again, welcome. Hit that like for the page, share to your social media, and welcome. So tonight, I am joined again by our permanent co-host, who hopefully one of these days will be flying solo, Ernie.
Hello, Lori. Hello, Chad. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hopefully everybody is doing well. Yes. Before we start, we do want to have a moment of prayer, so I will turn it over to Ernie.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for your grace, your mercy, and most importantly, your love, because without your love, we would not have an avenue to be with you for eternity, God. I just pray that what we discuss tonight and what we will experience in the future, I pray that you give us the discernment to understand the differences for what's coming from you and what's coming from the enemy, God. And I just pray over for what's to come. We're facing some very dark times, God, and we just need your hedge of protection, and we need your guidance and your strength more than ever, God, because we cannot do this on our own. We cannot do this through our own souls, God. Only you can help us guide through the dark times that we're experiencing right now, experiencing in the future, and those that who don't know you, God. I just pray that you be able to touch their hearts and their souls today, God, and be able to allow for us to expose the inner workings of the enemy so people can open their eyes and see what's really going on in this world, God. And I just pray that you can use us as your vessels to be able to deliver your message to the people and bring more souls closer to you, God. We love you, we honor, and we praise you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
So, I hope that you guys joined us last night. There's a little bit of confusion last night. We are not over on Twitch tonight. We are here over on YouTube and Facebook. The broadcast that I put out last night was a rebroadcast from a couple of years ago. And I thought it was fitting because of the events that had took place in Georgia yesterday with the Guidestones. Now, I just want to come out here and say I greatly appreciate whoever it was that destroyed the Georgia Guidestones for my birthday. But guys, a card would have sufficed. It's all I'm saying, But I will take that as the best birthday present ever.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a shock to see that happen. And I mean, we've all have just scoured at that monument for years now. And anytime we hear about it, our stomachs just cringe. And I'm just thankful that it's finally gone. But the question is, why are we being distracted with that?
Exactly. I'm going to throw up in case. I'm surprised at how many people aren't aware what the Georgia Guidestones are or were. I was very shocked. I don't know, but this is from the Independent. It says Georgia Guidestones explosion hunt for. You know what? This really irritates me. The Georgia Guidestones was not American Stonehenge. Stonehenge, we do not know who built it. We know who built the Guidestones. So to say that they're not one of the seven wonders, they're not American Stonehenge, it's just that part really irritates me. But yesterday morning, around what time did I get up? I don't know. I got up around 8 o'clock, I think 9 o'clock yesterday morning, and the first thing that popped up, and they said that had been damaged, and I started watching videos, started looking into it. And so this says a hunt is still on in Georgia for the suspects who authorities say damaged the mysterious Guidestone monuments in an explosion, which some online conspiracy theorists have called an act of God. The Georgia Bureau of Investigations, the GBI, told reporters that preliminary information suggests someone used an explosive device to damage the pillar on Wednesday morning. A large portion of the structure was damaged and one part was completely destroyed, leading to the full demolition of the granite structure, the GBI said. In CCTV footage released by authorities, a car is seen near the monument shortly after the explosion. No suspects have been identified or found. Despite being erected in the 1980s, the Guidestones are sometimes called American Stonehenge and consist of 6 granite slabs, which with an inscription in a different language. They have long been the subject of conspiracy theories. Well, we know that they were known throughout the conspiracy, community, or whatever you want to call the people, us. They were known as the 10 Commandments of the New World Order, right?
Yes, it is. And there is some relevance to the fact that nobody don't really know about the Georgia Guidestones up until yesterday. I mean, if you really think about it, the media hasn't really been focused on that. I mean, not ever since this erection back in the 1980s. You don't hear too much noise about the Georgia Guidestones or the commandments that it has on there. So, I mean, it's safe to say that, people are hidden from it unless they know through people like us in the community. It's hard to be able to find out what it is or where it is.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of amazes me that when we have situations like, come on, guys, we are literally living in the Orwell's 1984. Big Brother is always watching us, and it never ceases to amaze me when things like this happen. It just so happens that the cameras either don't capture it, they're not working. It's we've got clear pictures of Pluto, but yet all they give us is grainy pictures and video to look at.
Yes,
It never ceases to amaze me.
yes, and security cameras with high resolution, they're a dime a dozen these days. They're very inexpensive. So why didn't they update their equipment?
Right. Well, before 2014, there was not a camera there. In 2014, I'll get into that a little bit more, but in 2014, the Guidestones were, I want to say, quote unquote, vandalized. It might have been 2015, 14 or 15. I can't remember when it was, but they were, quote, I'm using air quotes here, they were vandalized. So after that, they put in the cameras. But when I say vandalized, they weren't hurt. Somebody added something to them, and we're going to look at that in just a couple minutes. But this is the video that they're showing us.
Here is the actual security footage that shows the exact moment that the Georgia Guidestones exploded. Now, if you notice something weird, look at the time when the explosion happens. It's at 4:03 and 33 seconds. We all know what 33 means. Is it just a coincidence? You be the judge.
Well, you know what? I don't believe in coincidences either.
And a big shout out to End Times Productions. He does a lot of good work.
Absolutely, yes.
Definitely been on point when it comes to the Georgia Guidestones and some of the mysteries that's been going on surrounding it.
I'm just gonna play this. I'm gonna slow it down. See if we can see anything. I don't know. Some people are saying lightning. Some people are saying bomb.
Well, here's the thing. When a bomb is detonated, there's 360-degree force.
Yeah.
But if you notice,
this blew outward.
Exactly. And if you notice something with the light,
I did that light, yes.
It looked like it received a lot of energy as well.
Now, what is this light? Do we know?
I'm not exactly sure if it's like a street light or a floodlight to oversee the monument, but it raises some questions as why did the blast occur at the same time that the light beamed brighter?
Yeah, I don't know. It was yeah, that's another thing. Tricia says could be a direct energy weapon. Yeah. I've heard people talking about rods of God. Guys, if you know anything about the rods of God, you would that whole block would have been gone if it was rods of God. Those tungsten rods going up to 500 miles an hour. And I don't know if you've seen the force that it hits the ground. It literally ripples the ground for a large patch of land. So we can rule out rods of God. We can't rule out an act of God or lightning. The thing of it is, though, the neighbors in the area yesterday did not talk about lightning. They said they heard a large explosion, and that was it. Nobody I've been looking through posts and everything, and nobody has mentioned anything about lightning.
Right. And for those who don't really know how damaged the capabilities of the damage of the rods of God, watch the second G.I. Joe movie.
Yeah.
That clearly explains what it can do. So I think that's out of the question.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not even, now another person said that the pillar that was destroyed was on top. Okay, so let's back up a little bit. We know that if you watched the documentary last night, we were told that even though it says that there was a time capsule placed under there, that there was never one placed. That's why there was no date put on there. It's because there was nothing there. And somebody had said, well, the reason why they destroyed that pillar was because it was on top of where the time capsule was. That's not true. The time capsule would have been underneath the slab that was next to that pillar. So the pillar would not have had to have been destroyed in order to get to the time capsule. So there's that. The fact that we don't believe there is, I believe the time capsule is a rumor. After listening to the guys who actually were responsible for building it last night, it's saying that there was none. I don't know.
Well, it's hard to see. I mean, I don't know if they excavated that slab as well. Only time will tell. But if there was a time capsule, I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, they wouldn't tell us. Right. I mean, but it's on the inscription on that slab.
You know, here's the thing, Ernie. I'm going to go with this, and this is my theory on it. I'm going to go with the bomb theory, because you want to know how many times I can look in the chat room right now, and I can pull out 2 people plus about 4 or 5 other people that aren't in the chat room that I've had conversations that they've said somebody needs to blow that up. I know somebody who looked in the area around it and was like, is there any farms that they could steal, like, you know, tractors from and go push it down? So it, you know, I'm going with the fact that it was probably somebody who wanted to. Okay, one of 2 things. It's either somebody who's in like the conspiracy world who did it because we all know why, because we don't like it, or it was a distraction from CERN.
I think it could have been a double-edged sword. I mean, because if you really think about it, who could they put the blame on the most? Us Christians. It just gives them another gateway to use to persecute us. Exactly. And that seems to already started.
Yeah. Well, it was September 22nd, 2014. A mysterious cube was added to the Georgia Guidestones. This is why the cameras were put up there. The new cameras and the surveillance was because of this cube. Now, this cube fits perfectly into a little notch that was in the middle, facing, hold on a second, facing the middle part of it. I'm going to send, Stephen wants to come on for just a minute. So absolutely, Stephen, come on up. He's got a lot. He's definitely looked into this a lot. And so what they did is they have this. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to put that up there. Oh, did you put that up there?
I did. Yep.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, forgot you have access to that. So this is was a mystery. Okay, this cube was an absolute mystery at the time. This is what it looked like. And it had MM20, well, this is what it had. MM2014 JAM 8 and 16. And there was a lot of people that were trying to decipher what it meant. The cube was 6 by 6 by 6. We found out who put it in there, never found out why they put it in there, never really found out what the message was. But it was after that is when they put the cameras up. Hey, what's up, Sentinel?
Hey, how's it going, Lori?
Good. What do you got to say about this?
Okay, so I've seen like a lot of the footage and all that jazz. I know how I felt for over a decade. Um, this is definitely a bomb that went off. It wasn't lightning, it was not an earthquake, it wasn't any of this other jazz. Whenever I was in the service, I was a grunt. All right. Front line, kick in your door type stuff. We had combat engineers that definitely blew stuff up. I have training in, IED making and claymores and all that stuff. This was definitely a bomb going off.
Mhm.
There's no question about it. This was a bomb. Now, I do know for a fact, myself included, in my opinion, my rhetoric is not a reflection of this channel, the viewers, or anyone else. I've wanted to do it. I've thought about it hard.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think this is one of those things where it's not really a false flag.
No.
Um, I know a lot of people are saying it's a distraction. Look, guys, media is going to cover it. They're going to cover anything like this. I think this is simply a person who's had enough.
Right.
Um, so it's definitely a bomb, not a false flag. This is definitely someone fed up. It doesn't even fit the pattern of a false flag. They
Right.
don't have a suspect in custody already, like they do with every other narrative they spew down our throats. You know, some clown over here shoots up something. Dude, they have a suspect immediately, have it broadcasted everywhere, and start running with a narrative for more gun control or whatnot. People that I know the data. I know the mathematical formulas. I get it. I'm down that rabbit hole too. I guarantee you this is not a false flag.
Yeah.
Someone has simply had enough.
Yeah, the timing of it is kind of, pretty suspicious as well.
The,
It's it.
the timing is suspicious. It is. But, there is resistance out there also, people.
Yes.
People's had it. We've all had it. Um, so unless if there's like anything absolutely concrete that points to a false flag, as of now, I highly doubt it.
Right.
Um, because like I said, man, they would have already had someone's face plastered all over the freaking news.
Absolutely.
But yes, it was definitely a bomb.
Let
I
me
can,
ask you this: do you find it strange that the entire site was demolitioned so quickly?
yes and no, and allow me to elaborate. The timing is definitely suspect in a lot of ways. Absolutely. It was the day after CERN and all this. However, I have discussed, I have talked to, I have networked with people for well over a decade. It's like, man, we should bomb the
Yeah.
Guidestones as a message.
Yeah.
And it's like, I agree. The only reason why I haven't done it is because I just don't want the headache and the ATF and
Right.
just no, and just absolutely not. Um, but a lot of people know that it's push come to shove now. A lot of people want to find a way to push back. Going out there and making IEDs, not really the thing to push back with. Um, whoever did it, great. You're my hero. I love you. But you can't be doing this.
Right. Yeah.
But it was definitely a bomb. And there's a lot of things you can do with Oklahoma City, which that was a false flag.
Oh yeah.
Uh, we learned a lot from that. And Tannerite. Now, look, ATF, I know you're going to be watching. I don't care. You're unconstitutional. Go shoot a dog. But Tannerite, the fun exploding target stuff, 2 pounds of that, I may be a little off, but 2 pounds of that is equivalent to a stick of dynamite. You can go right over there to Dunham's and get it. I don't know the method that the person used, but it was definitely some homemade IED,
Hmm.
or or could have used tannerite because a lot of that stuff in volume can do a lot of damage. Now you have to utilize a firearm to detonate tannerite. We haven't got all the footage. We darn sure don't have audio, so we don't know if there were gunshots or not. We don't know a lot of the details about that, but I'm just spitting ideas out there on how the person could have done it.
Yeah. Not only that, but look it's right after the 4th of July, so people have been legally buying up fireworks,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
there's fireworks that, I mean, if you took them apart and put them together, you could come up with something pretty good, pretty powerful.
Oh, yeah, you could,
Because
but
it didn't hurt the whole thing. It just took out one of the slabs. I
right.
mean, if
And
it
it
really,
seemed like,
really wanted to do something, it would, they could have put it in the
right,
middle and blown out all three of them.
absolutely. But we're talking about, Lord knows telling how many pounds of powder from your
Yeah,
typical firework. I mean, that would be a pretty massive device.
yeah.
Um, as
No
far as
one.
I can tell, go ahead, Arnie. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine. It just boggles my mind that how that bomb was able to just take out that one granite slab and leave the other three unscathed. But the top corner part of the monument, that
Mhm.
one was like chipped off. So that's why I was personally questioning how it could have been a bomb. But I mean, obviously, you know more about that than I do. So
Well, with a controlled detonation, um, a claymore, for instance, everybody
mhm,
knows it says front towards enemy. All right. So on a claymore, which is, it's been a long time, which I believe is 1.5 pounds of C4 in a claymore. So you got this shape. It's kind of like a very small, cone shape type deal. It says front towards enemy on the front, and it blasts out that front. So you could be, 100 yards, which is typically the safe distance because you don't know exactly where it's going to go. We don't trust anything in the Marine Corps, not even command. But anyway, you want to be, pretty good distance, at least 100 yards from a claymore if you got like a field setup. Now, will it blast back or up or out? A little. But a lot of that controlled detonation is going to blast through the front of that. So if you had a guy who knew exactly what he was doing and had a specific target on the Guidestones, which this person obviously did, he could have rigged up a device that had knowledge of how explosions work and rigged up a controlled det to take out that small section to make it crumble and leave the rest untouched. A lot of it is just basically simply volume and shape for controlled det.
Yeah. I don't think we'll ever know. I think we will always have these questions as to how, who did it, how did they do it, why did they decide to demolish it so quickly. My husband and I were just talking about before we went on the air, and it doesn't make any sense to me, Laura. He said, why didn't they just bring flatbeds and lift
Mm-hmm.
the other two up and put them on a flatbed and put them in storage until they decided if these people, because there's a trust, the county has a trust that to care for this or this monument. It should have been up to the trust as to how to proceed.
Right. Now, I know we're all leery of the government, but for
No.
all we know, this person could have been inside the local government and
Yeah.
was like, you know what, screw these stones.
Yeah.
And there could have been another agenda behind it too. Like, hey, let's demolish this and claim eminent domain and, build a strip mall or sell the property or, I mean,
Well,
we
that's what
don't know.
another thing my husband said. He goes, I wouldn't doubt that the property, because looking around it, it's a pretty nice place, a lot of property there. He goes,
Oh,
they could have something in the works where housing development or a
mhm,
mall or something to go in there, and this was in their way.
right. And that's possible. And another thing that, and I know Alex Jones is controlled opposition, but he does slip out some good information sometimes. And I was watching his coverage on it yesterday briefly. And he was right on one thing about it not being a false flag.
Yeah.
These globalists, these elitists, these the puppet master and all their little puppets, they never, ever, ever in history of false flags target their own stuff.
Exactly.
Now, yeah, a lot of people's waking up to it. Yes, granted, they could be changing up their game. Sure. But I highly doubt it because these are boastful, arrogant, psychopath, narcissistic pieces of garbage. So I don't think they would false flag,
I don't either.
especially a monument that is
Yeah.
just so absolutely precious to them.
Yeah, I don't either. That's pretty funny, Messenger.
But, I figured, I'd ask to come on to like just clarify that
I
one.
appreciate that.
But thank you, Lori. I'm going to hop off here and just listen to the show.
Thank you, Sentinel. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it, man.
Hey, Ernie, you're awesome, by the way, dude. You're great. Love you,
Thank you.
man.
Likewise,
All
man.
right.
Appreciate you.
All right. Y'all have a blessed evening.
You too,
You
sir.
too.
So, talking with him, I mean, like I said, we're probably never going to know. I don't think we're never going to get the truth about it, because if it is, somebody who's a conspiracy theorist, fringe thinker, outside of the box thinker, whatever you want to call them, that did this, they're never going to allow us to take that win.
I don't believe so either. But there's so many questions behind this, and the fact that we'll never find out, or even if they will catch the person involved with this. I mean, they didn't even catch a license plate.
Yeah.
Where's the video footage of people that approached the monument to apply
Yeah, if
the
they've got
detonation
video
equipment?
footage of the explosion, then they've got video footage of the person planting the explosive. So
Exactly.
like I said, they will never allow us that win. Whatever. Like I said, hey, I'll take it. I'll never forget the day that it was destroyed, because but we'll take that as a win. The thing of it is, though, is even though it's been destroyed, the concept is not dead. And we can't let, there's been a lot of discussion over on Nothing to See here in the group, and people talking about, well, the white hats are in charge now. Supposedly the white hats took over Cern. That's why we haven't seen anything, which we're going to get to that, because I do believe we are seeing some things. But in the same sense, we'll get to that. Saying that the white hats are in charge. The white hats did this. To me, I think this goes along with the destruction of other statues that we've seen in the past. It was just somebody who had a beef with it and just decided to take it out for the sake of humanity.
Yeah, that could be a case.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like to warn everybody, don't necessarily do that, because that will point a light on certain demographics where it doesn't need to be.
Yeah, exactly. Because we don't know. And like I said, we might never know. So, all right, moving. Oh, and I do want to just let everybody know that, if you do find something regarding the time capsule, please let us know in the description area, because, I'd like to see that. Chris, Charity, what did you need, Chris? You got my name in all caps. Okay. We'll see what Chris has. All right, so moving right along to Cern. We covered Cern live on Tuesday, the 5th, when they reportedly went to 13.6 teravolts. And we had a packed house, and the world was watching. And according to the Cern website, they were right on target with what we were seeing in the live stream, until it was over and people started seeing some things. Ernie, what's your take on this?
Well, with the stuff that we've seen, I wonder if it was really a live stream,
Yeah.
or even if it was the facility at CERN.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some questions that raised in my mind over the past couple of days. I mean, such as that. Now that date shows April 25th of this year. And what
Yes, that would
day?
be 3 days. That would be 3 days after they went back online.
Correct. And now, why did they show that on the live?
Right. Why did they show it on the live? Let me. Did I? I don't have it. Okay, hold on a second. I have to go over to grab it off of Facebook real quick. Let me fun.
Now, looking at this image here, it definitely is clear evidence of what I said in the previous stream, that technology is decades ahead of us, if not centuries ahead of us. So, going to the fact that they quote unquote reached a level never before done in human history clearly shows that that's not the case. And when you see things in Egyptian artifacts and looking at false gods, especially the goddess Shiva and the image that she is coming through, it just stuff doesn't add up. It means that this stuff has been around for a very, very long time. I mean, even if you read the book of Enoch, what did the Watchers teach them?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I lost internet.
Oh no,
Did you hear me say I lost internet?
I did not.
Okay. What I was going to say is that, well, what I did say, I was here talking to myself and I realized I lost internet. It was my bad. During the live stream, guys, what happened was I was looking at the control panel and I was not looking at the live stream. I had it covered because I wanted to make sure that our control panels were matching up to what they were saying. Okay, which they did. Which that has me baffled, because as soon as they said we've got stable beam, the control panel that I was watching went to stable beam. So I don't know about that, but so I could not verify it with our stream. But this here, he's showing
fast.
it.
This is a post-collision interview. I'm using this one as a point of reference because it came at the end, and it's the only accurate depiction of when we were told this event was going to happen. The date and time are listed above me. Many of you are going to say that says May 7th. Other countries write day, month, year. 5th day, 7th month, 2022. 1519 checks out. 10 a.m. East Coast time, 5 hours ahead. Still doesn't match that first video, though. Everything else I show you came prior to that interview. This now says month, day, year, but it says 1617. We were also shown a computer screen where we could see all the activity going on in the reactor prior to the collision. Now it is showing day, month, year, 1642. In this interview, well before the collision was supposed to happen, see that clock on the wall? Looks like 1615. So multiple times, multiple dates, multiple ways of writing the dates. And mind you, everything I've shown you is from CERN. They're live, that they broadcast. This isn't me splicing together multiple sources across the internet.
I think we got duped, Ernie.
I believe we did too.
I don't believe that was a live stream that we were seeing. I don't believe that was the date that we went up to the 13.6 teravolts. I think they already did that long before they put out that live stream on the 5th.
Absolutely. I mean, they got the technology to be able to do that. They've had it, and that led us to believe that they were working on it for X amount of years to upgrade and whatnot. I mean, to be honest with you, I think that's a load of crap.
Yeah, I really seriously do. I think that, CERN, um, I, they say they want transparency, and yet they pull something like this. Do they honestly think that people wouldn't notice?
Well, I believe they think that we are too blind to notice.
Well, guess what? For those that don't know what we're talking about, this is the date that was on their live 4/25/22, 10:04, 4/25/22. That would have been 3 days after they went online. They went online April 22nd, 2022. A little under 3 months ago, they've been running it. I believe that they've already ran the 13.6 teravolts before Tuesday. And that would explain the strange things that we've been seeing in the sky over the past 3 months. There's been an uptick, Ernie, of strange lights in the sky. Over San Diego just the other day, last week, I think it was, it totally reminded me of the Phoenix lights. We've tons of things going on. Weather patterns. This happened on Tuesday night. This happened right after. This is the guy that I was telling you about. This is Mr. MBB333 over on YouTube. And look at this. This is over in give me a second.
Sioux Falls, South Dakota, where it looks
Yes,
like.
that is. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me play this a little bit for you. This is
Hope everybody's doing well and having a great day. You're looking at a green sky, overwhelmingly green sky from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, less than 48 hours ago, July 5th of 2022. This is a highway cam on Highway 85 in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. This is unedited from the highway cam, looking at a storm system that went through the North Central Plains, created multiple power outages a couple of days ago, and the storms are generating once again. Today, you can see them developing here east of the Mississippi. Look for power outages, high winds, heavy rains this afternoon into the early evening hours. But in this video, I want to talk about Hurricane Bonnie.
okay. That's all he talks about on that one. I have actually more pulled up. This was over on Twitter. Look at that. I have seen green skies like this. I've totally seen skies like this out in Arizona during the monsoon season, which is from right around June-ish, July through September-ish. You will find the green skies, and that usually means one of two things: tornado or sandstorm. If you see your sky turn green like this, yellow or green or orange sometimes, you run outside and you grab all of the things that can blow away in your yard. You grab your clothes off the line and you run, because chances are within the next minute or two, you're going to get hit by this wall of sand. But I've never seen it in this area.
Yes, that was very strange.
Yeah. And that was the night of the 5th. So that would have been the night that they supposedly ramped up to 13.6 teravolts. We've had a lot of really strange weather, a lot of bad weather. Just last month, I think it was, there was snow in Colorado.
Yes, there were, and the tornadoes have been on the increase as well.
Yeah,
I've been following that closely.
Tornadoes, hail. Some couple places I was watching Ryan Hall y'all's channel, and he was talking about literally golf ball size hail coming down in Ohio yesterday. It was really bad.
Right, there's a lot of events called the Rachel, or Reed Timmer calls it a windbag, which is storm that can produce 100-mile-an-hour plus
Yeah.
winds,
Yep.
and in Gorilla Hill, which can be huge, it can be softball size and above.
Mm.
So we're definitely seeing an increase on that. And the weird thing is too, it's not just occurring in Tornado Alley. You're seeing a lot of those occurrences happen on the eastern part of the United States,
Yeah.
as far up as New York.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Tornado Alley. It's weird because years ago, Tornado Alley ran from usually the Amarillo, Texas area up through Oklahoma, Kansas, and straight up into the Chicagoland area, up into Illinois. That was just that one strip. Now how many tornadoes have we had in Georgia and Tennessee this year? I mean, literally tens, if not 100 or so. I mean, if you guys aren't following Ryan Hall on YouTube or TikTok, you really have to. Does a bang up job. He has saved so many lives this year through his live streams. He is straight through. He'll tell you exactly where it is, and he will literally tell you, if you are in this area, get out, get underground now.
And often he tells you before the warning is actually issued by the National Weather Service too.
Yes, he does.
A great team behind him.
Yeah, he's a fantastic weatherman. He's one of the ones that I'm actually thinking of joining his private, or his, what is it, members only thing that he has, just because I'm interested in watching the different areas, how the weather's changing, because I do believe that they're pumping something up in there, whether it's CERN, whether it's HARP, it's something going on.
Absolutely. And we look at this past winter, how many tornadoes formed, like large tornadoes in Louisiana, in Tennessee, during the dead of winter.
Yep. Yes, he was. He was a weatherman. He is actually, yes, a weatherman. And he got told that he couldn't tell the truth. Exactly. So he said, screw you all. And he came over to YouTube. And he's growing expeditiously. Yep. So we got the weather going on. Let's talk a little bit about governments of the world, Ernie.
Oh, yes. And it's quite fitting with all the CERN activities been going on, how all of this stuff that's happening has been probably the most significant of the year so far, all within the same week.
Yeah, we just got word today that Boris Johnson has stepped down as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. The European Union is rubbing its hands with glee at Boris Johnson's downfall. Yes, but also no. When asked by journalists on Tuesday if any extra bottles of champagne had been ordered in response to the news of his resignation, the EU spokesman dryly responded, "We have a very limited consumption of alcohol beverages in the European Commission." So I think he was saying that, we want to, but, we're not going to be jumping for joy yet. They're in trouble over there. Not only did Boris step down, but I think 20 some of his cabinet members stepped down as well.
Yes, they actually stepped down before he did.
Yeah. And Israel is going through turmoil right now, and there's quite a few countries out there where the leadership is. And I said, Trish was posting something in our group chat earlier today, and I said, my thought on this is, I can't think of a better scenario for the elite to put into place a one world government than right now.
Exactly. And when we were discussing before the broadcast started, I've mentioned to you about the Left Behind series, and we started discussing on that. And even though there's a lot of doctrine that don't line up to true biblical beliefs, the storyline is almost on par with what we're experiencing right now.
100%.
I mean, We're on the verge of World War III. All these nations are falling apart. The economy is going down the tubes. Worldwide, you're seeing food supplies and worker shortages everywhere. And millions of cattle are being killed, including chickens.
Yeah.
It just presents the perfect storm for the abomination of desolation to rise and show his face to the world.
Exactly. I mean, you have all of these governments that are collapsing, and it would probably be less of a nuisance if they were just to absorb the countries that are having problems into the EU or into, you know, the sectors that they have picked out for each of the stations of the world. Like the Canada, the US, Mexico is one, you know, and you've got the EU over there. You know, this would be the perfect, I would say this would be the perfect time for the Antichrist to rise. Absolutely 100%.
Absolutely. I mean, we have to keep our eyes on Israel.
Yes, I agree. I absolutely agree. Are you aware of Boris Johnson? This man is like straight out wicked.
I've heard bits and pieces of him, and all the things that I've heard aren't good.
Yeah.
Even people that live in that part of the world are not fond of him just on paper.
Right. Yeah, Elizabeth, 24 world leaders are stepping down or have stepped down. Absolutely, 24. Let's take a listen to it about Boris Johnson. I found this right before we went live, and I started watching and my jaw dropped. Let's listen to it for a few minutes.
The life and lies of Boris Johnson, from the day he was born to the day he became Prime Minister. June 1964. Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson is born in New York. His earliest recorded ambition is to become world king.
Yes, his middle name is de Pfeffel.
1982. In a letter to Johnson's father, an Eton schoolteacher writes of the 17-year-old Boris Johnson,
"He sometimes seems affronted when criticised for what amounts to a gross failure of responsibility, and surprised at the same time that he was not appointed captain of the school for the next half. I think he honestly believes that it is churlish of us not to regard him as an exception, one who should be free of the network of obligation that binds everyone else."
1983. Johnson becomes a leading member of Oxford University's male-only Bullingdon Club. During his tenure, the club's members indulge in sexist taunting, vandalism, restaurant trashing, bullying, and ritual humiliation of the poor. One recruiter for the club will later describe it during Johnson's time, saying Bullingdon members
found it amusing if people were intimidated or frightened by their behaviour. I remember them walking down a street in Oxford in their tails, chanting "Buller, Buller," and smashing bottles along the way just to cow people. Boris was one of the big beasts of the club. He was up for anything. They treated certain types of people with absolute disdain and referred to them as plebs.
1984. Sixth former Damien Furness visits Johnson's Oxford College for his entrance interview. Many years later, he will relate what happened.
I was staying the night and had an evening to kill in the college bar. Johnson was propping it up with his coterie of acolytes, whose only apparent role in life was to laugh at his jokes. In the course of my pint, I felt obliged to finish. He mocked my speech impediment, my accent, my school, my dress sense, my haircut, my background, my father's work as a farm worker and garage proprietor, and my prospects in the scholarship interview I was there for. His only motivation was to amuse his posh boy mates.
1987. At the age of 23, Johnson marries the daughter of a millionaire art historian. Fresh out of university and aided by family connections, he lands a traineeship at the Times newspaper. 1988. Johnson is sacked as a trainee at the Times for making up a quote on his first front-page story. 1990. Johnson conspires with his Bullingdon Club friend Darius Guppy to have a fellow journalist assaulted. The two discuss in detail how badly assaulted the man will be, including cracked ribs and black eyes, before Johnson agrees to supply the journalist's address for the attack to be carried out.
Boris, have you got this number? How badly are you going to hurt this guy? Okay, let me explain this. You will not be put into intensive care or anything like that. Okay, Darius, I said I'll do it. Don't worry.
The conspiracy goes nowhere and no attack happens. 1991. According to a friend of Johnson's wife, an incident occurs in which Johnson displays his frightening temper, after which his wife turns up at the friend's flat in Brussels looking shocked, scared, and on the brink of tears. The marriage soon deteriorates as Johnson begins an affair with a barrister. 1993. Johnson gets his barrister girlfriend pregnant and is soon divorced for the first time. 1994. He is now a columnist for The Telegraph and The Spectator magazine. His columns include racially charged invectives such as slamming Nelson Mandela for the, quote, tyranny of black majority rule in post-apartheid South Africa, and describing Chinese workers as, quote, puffing coolies. 1995. He describes the children of single mothers as, quote, ill-raised, ignorant, aggressive, and illegitimate, saying it is, quote, outrageous that married couples should pay for the single mother's desire to procreate independently of men. In the same piece, he dismisses working class men as, quote, likely to be drunk, criminal, aimless, feckless, and hopeless. 1998. Delighting in the resignation of gay cabinet minister Peter Mandelson for accepting an undisclosed loan from a friend, Johnson describes the gay community as, quote, tank-topped bumboys. 1999. Johnson is made editor of The Spectator magazine, promising owner Conrad Black he will not stand to be an MP. 2000. Johnson begins a relationship with one of his employees. He promises her that he will leave his wife to marry her. He does not leave his wife. 2001. Breaking his promise to the owner of The Spectator, Johnson stands to be an MP. He now promises voters in Henley that if they vote for him, he will step down as editor of The Spectator. That June, he becomes MP for Henley. He does not step down as editor of The Spectator. In a book he writes during the election campaign, Johnson compares equal marriage to a union between 3 men and a dog. 2002. Writing in The Spectator, Johnson defends British colonialism in Africa, saying, the problem is not that we were once in charge, but that we are not in charge anymore. Left to their own devices, the natives would rely on nothing but the instant carbohydrate gratification of the plantain. Meanwhile, in The Telegraph, he describes black Africans as, quote, flag-waving pickaninnies with watermelon smiles. 2003. Johnson is made vice chair of the Conservative Party and shadow arts minister. 2004. Rumours circulate that Johnson has got one of his employees pregnant, resulting in her having an abortion. Johnson slams the suggestion as, quote, complete balderdash and an inverted pyramid of piffle, and assures Conservative Party leader Michael Howard that the claim is untrue. In reality, the rumours are entirely true. Johnson is sacked from his position as Tory vice chair and shadow minister for lying to the party. 2005. Johnson steps down as editor of The Spectator. Advising his successor on how to deal with a senior female colleague, he says, just pat her on the bottom and send her on her way. 2008. Johnson becomes mayor of London. 2009. He fathers a child with an unpaid advisor to City Hall. 2013, the Court of Appeal throws out an injunction that has until now prevented Johnson being named as the father of the child. 3 judges rule that the public has a right to know about Johnson's, quote, reckless behaviour. By now, Johnson is having an affair with an American technology entrepreneur. Her company will receive £26,000 of public money while Johnson is mayor. She will later receive a £100,000 government grant intended for UK operating businesses, even after relocating to California the previous year. 2014. Johnson denies at least 17 times that he will stand as an MP while still in post as Mayor of London. 2015. Johnson stands as an MP while still in post as Mayor of London. 2016. Hedging his bets, Johnson drafts 2 Brexit articles, one pro-leave and the other pro-remain. In his pro-remain article, Johnson says the UK should remain, quote, intimately engaged in the EU, and that Brexit could cause an economic shock, the diminishing of Britain on the world stage, and the breakup of the Union. 2 days later, Johnson announces he will be campaigning for Vote Leave. On June 23rd, Britain votes to leave the EU. Prime Minister David Cameron resigns. Johnson is the leading figure to replace him, but his leadership campaign soon implodes when his own campaign manager, Michael Gove, says that Johnson is, quote, not capable of leading the country. Instead, Cameron is succeeded by Theresa May. She makes Johnson Foreign Secretary. 2017, Johnson fails to impress in the role, making a series of dangerous gaffes. Most notably, he significantly undermines the legal case of Nazanin Zaghari Ratcliffe, a British Iranian held in Iran on charges of espionage. It will be a further 5 years before she is finally released. 2018, Johnson resigns as Foreign Secretary and returns to his £250,000 a year job as a columnist for the Daily Telegraph. He's soon using his column to label women who wear burqas as, quote, letterboxes. His brother Leo, who's married to a Muslim, slams Johnson for his, quote, bigotry. In the week following his outburst, Islamophobic incidents increase across the UK by almost 400%. Half of all reported in-person abuse directly references Boris Johnson or the language he used. Johnson is now having an affair with Carrie Symonds, a former communications director for the Conservative Party. Johnson and his wife will soon separate. 2019, police are called to Symonds' South London flat after reports of a serious altercation. Neighbours report hearing a woman screaming, followed by slamming and banging. Symonds is reportedly heard screaming at Johnson to, quote, "get off me and get out of my flat." Symonds will soon be expecting a baby. It is the 5th time as a married man that Johnson has made another woman, who isn't his wife, pregnant. On the 19th of July, following an internal Conservative Party coup against Theresa May, Johnson fulfills his lifetime ambition and becomes Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Everything in this film was known before the Tory party made him Prime Minister. His tenure has been an administrative and a moral failure. The question now is, what will Conservative MPs do about it?
Wow.
What an upstanding gentleman he is, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know he was like that. That's definitely a very well detailed story.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes to show you how blind people are. With somebody like that running your country.
Well, I mean, can the same thing be said about the United States? We knew about Hunter Biden's indiscretions and, you know, prior to the election.
Exactly.
It just seems the more morally corrupt our leaders are, the more beloved they are.
Well, we live in a world where good and evil are reversed.
Yeah. Lone Eagle was in the chat room prior to us going live, and he was talking about it. He mentioned on one of his live streams a couple of days ago how we are commanded to be in this world, not of it. I really believe that we should be holding our world leaders to a higher morality standard. Isn't that what they used to do? Like, back in the day, they, if you, what was it? The old saying when I was a kid, keep your records spotless, because you never know if you want to decide to become president, because they'll dig up everything and use it against you. And that kind of was a deterrent for, kids. If you wanted to run for mayor, if you wanted to run for sheriff, if you wanted to run for governor, if you wanted to run for president, you had to have a pristine, you had to be above reproach. We don't have that anymore.
You definitely don't. And it shows the fruit of their labor too. Yeah. And only a few of us hold our elected officials to those high standards. But when we're ruled out by the majority who don't like somebody because they're orange and says whatever he wants, or somebody who is actually capable of leading the country, then we have a big problem on our hands.
Exactly. 24 leaders have either stepped down or are going to be stepping down. That's a lot, guys. And that's a lot. Let me say that's a lot of puppets that they have to replace. And that is why I say that I believe that they're going to do one sweep and possibly just say, you know what, it'd be better for us to put one world government in place now rather than replace 24. I mean, because look at the economy's tanking all over the world. The economy is tanking. We're in such literally dire straits in a lot of countries. It would be cheaper for them, or I want to say easier for them, to make one sweep, one world government, one world currency, boom, done. There you have it.
Hence the term, the Great Reset.
The Great Reset, yeah, exactly. The Great Reset never set well with me, because I know what that means.
Absolutely. And Build Back Better, Great Reset. It doesn't matter what you call it. It all means the same thing, which is one world government, one world currency, and eventually one world religion with one world leader.
Yeah, the Antichrist and the Vatican's already pushing for the one world religion, because I mean, like there's multiple ways to get to God. There's multiple ways to have salvation. You don't. There's not just through Jesus Christ. So I mean, they can. I warned people about Chrislam back in 2013. I started talking about Chrislam being the new religion. It was going to put all the religions basically into one, including Islam, Judaism, Christianity, and put us all under Noahide law. Boom. It's coming, guys. It is coming. We really need, I don't know how many times we got to say this. You guys really need to get your foundations strong in Christ. If never before, now is the time.
Those of you who haven't picked up a Bible, now is the time to do so, because this stuff's been predicted thousands of years ago, guys. I mean, we're living in a society where things are unfolding at an alarming rate, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. It's going to get much worse. And there's nothing we can do about it except get right with ourselves, and most importantly, get right with God.
Exactly. There will come a time when it'll be too late. There will come that time. I don't know. Things are going on. It just the timing is auspicious when it comes to the Guidestones, Cern. I do believe that it's one of the two things that I said. That's just my personal. It's either a distraction or it's with somebody trying to just say, you know what, we're done with this. I don't know, but you got the weather changes, world leaders, coming and going, being replaced, stepping down for whatever reason. Just a lot of things on our plate right now.
I mean, looking at the farmers in the Netherlands, I mean, we talked about it before we went live. What was that biblical verse that you mentioned to me about Jesus warning us about the sign of his coming?
In Matthew chapter 24,
Exactly.
he told us that the disciples, apostles asked him, what are we to look for before your second coming? And he laid it all out. He literally laid everything out on the table. There was nothing that he didn't tell us. And every single one of those things is coming to fruition now. Wars, rumors of wars, famines, droughts. It's all of it is taking place. The writing's on the wall. It really is.
Absolutely. And the fact of the matter is, the things that we see right now, adding on to what Lori just said about in that Jesus said in Matthew, it's just the beginning of birth pains.
Yeah. We don't know when tribulation is going to start, because it's not going to seem like tribulation in the first part. Guys, let me just tell you, the Antichrist, when he comes on scene, he's not going to come, being this evil person who, that we see in the book of Revelation. He's going to come and be loving and kind, and he's going to be our savior. He's going to help us get through this. He's going to, then after we're midway through the tribulation is when it all changes. That's when he shows his true colors. That's when the war against the saints come. The mark of the beast, that comes halfway through tribulation. So are we in tribulation right now? I don't know. Or if we're not, we're darn close. Darn close.
Yeah. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. And when the son of perdition comes on the scene, I mean, he is not going to tell you that he's God just yet.
No.
He's not going to sit on the throne just yet and declare himself as God. No,
he's going to win our trust. He's going to be that figure that comes in and saves the day, whether he saves us from a nuclear event, whether he saves us from starving, whether somehow he's going to be made to be the person that we are going to accept and welcome in. And he's going to essentially, if you want to look at it in a relationship sort of way, he's going to spend the first 3.5 years completely and totally love bombing us.
Exactly. And the fact of the matter is, he's going to deceive many. And it's going to be including those who claim to be a Christ follower, but are already being misled by false doctrine.
Yeah.
The Bible talks about he can deceive even the elect.
Yes. Even if the elect could be deceived. So, even God knew that the deception was going to be great, Yeah, Viken, I you know what? I spent 4 years researching the bloodline of the Antichrist, looking at the Bible, looking at the book of Daniel, going through genealogy from David. I firmly believe it is going to be either William or his son. I'm still saying William though, only because of the bloodline, because of the research that I've done, and it's been validated by Dr. Joy Pugh in her research. I wish I would have found Joy before I wasted my time with 4 years researching, but unfortunately I didn't. But she validated everything that I had come up with, through my research. And it's interesting because when you're looking at the royal family right now, I was watching a video the other night, was laying in bed, and it had to do with William and Kate. And what I found was interesting is that I don't believe Charles is going to take the throne. Charles is very ill. And if you watch the Queen and her interactions, and you watch it, body language is everything. They are all about pomp and circumstance when it comes to their public lives. And the Queen has been putting Kate and William in the forefront before Charles and Camilla. So I think that it's going to completely skip over Charles, whether it be him passing away, or whether him being too sickly, or the Queen just saying, you know what, the people of these countries, of our Commonwealth countries, they want somebody young. They want somebody to be in power, or reigning over them for longer than Charles would. Because they would have Charles, what he gets coronated, and then 5 years down the line he dies, and now we got to have a coronation all over again, then printing the money all over again, doing all this. It's a lot of things that she's taken into consideration, and I firmly believe she's grooming William and Kate right now above Charles and Camilla.
I definitely is a strong case too. There's a couple other names that I had in mind too. One of which is the Yes We Can Man, and the Kush Boy. So those could necessarily pertain, but from the evidence that you and Joy has presented to us, I'm leaning towards that as well. But we won't know until it actually happens.
Mm-hmm. And everybody loves William. Oh, they love him and Kate over there. They gush over them when they're in public. Literally. Them and the kids, they literally gush over those. And
they sure do.
They've been keeping William and Kate pristine. They are above suspicion. They are above conspiracies. They are above rumors. They're put forth this happy and stable and loving and strong family relationship with their kids and with each other. They are just literally, the world is in love with William and Kate. They can't get enough of them.
Absolutely.
And Charles and Camilla, not so much. Actually, yes. I don't think Charles, if they want to get technical about it, I don't think Charles can become king because he married a divorcee. She's divorced. I think that's
right.
Yeah, I think if you were to get into the legality, the logistics of it, I don't believe he can be king because of that reason. But I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure that's one of the things that one of the stipulations. So Unless she, of course, she could have changed the law and been like, I can do that. I'm the queen.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely want to keep our eyes on Israel, and definitely want to keep our eyes on the UK.
Yeah.
Because those two will play hand in hand on what's to come.
Yeah, exactly. And you guys be careful with distractions. This week has been full of distractions. And I do believe that, these 24 world leaders that are stepping down or will be stepping down, could have been put underneath the underneath, it could have been slipped underneath the rug and nobody would even be talking about it, because people are so. Like I said, I was very shocked. I was very alarmed, actually, at the number of people that didn't know what the Guidestones were. What are the Guidestones? I never heard of them. Well, what are they for? Now so many people are aware of them. So many people are aware that it was all a eugenics, depopulation agenda. It has opened up a lot of eyes, but again, a distraction.
Yes, it definitely is. I mean, the first thing when I said to myself was, what are they distracting us from now? If it's shown on TV, that means there's something more important that's not shown on TV that we should be focusing on.
Yeah. Yeah. So I, for my birthday, I got a dehydrator.
Awesome.
And I did find some canning jars. So if anybody has anything, any recipes or stuff for dehydrating things or to help me out, I would greatly appreciate it because I'm a newbie at this. But that's what I'm going to be starting. I think my dehydrator comes tomorrow. So.
Awesome. I think Trish might have a book on that. I'm pretty sure she does.
Okay. I
don't know if Trish is in the chat.
She was. I don't know if she is now. I don't know. Diane, no. No woman. That's not, that has been taken out of context. Doesn't mean that he's not with a woman. That doesn't mean that he's gay. It doesn't mean anything like that. That whole scripture has been taken out of context. And according to the book, oh, hi Trish. Okay. And according to the book of Daniel, the Antichrist comes from the lineage of the same people that destroyed the temple in 70 AD. And if you do your research, you know that was the Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire is still in charge today through the Merovingian lineage. So, we have to stay biblical. We have to understand that and not misinterpret this. It doesn't mean that he doesn't like women or that he's gay or anything. That has been misinterpreted.
Absolutely. And when you look at the Beast of Revelation and the whore riding the beast, it definitely represents the Roman Catholic Church. So when you look at the description of the beast and look at where the Vatican sits on, that definitely represents that. And since the Roman Catholic Church is connected with the UK, that definitely leads me to believe that there is a very good chance that what the person who Lori is talking about could be rising up as our world leader.
Well, we soon will find out.
Absolutely.
Excuse me. All right. I think that's enough for tonight. I think we've pretty much talked about everything. Do you have anything else you want to talk or say about the topics that we've been discussing?
Not necessarily. I can't drive this home enough. Put your armor on, get your houses in order, get yourself in order, and get right with the Most High.
Yeah.
Because now is the time.
Yeah. Exactly. Take your eyes off of social media, put down your phone, pick up your Bible, call your family, get things in order. I wasn't going to say anything, but I guess I will. I woke up this morning with just a unconsolable feeling of dread in my stomach and in my chest. And it woke me up. almost a fear, like a fight or flight. It was almost like I was fighting it. I don't know why. I wasn't having any bad dreams. The dream that I was having was I was actually driving the truck. So it wasn't anything, scarier. I wasn't having a nightmare or anything, but all day I've just had this just this feeling. Um and I know I'm not the only one. I've talked to other people that are having this feeling as well. So be more vigilant around your surroundings. When you go out in public, when you go to the stores, when you go to church, we live in a time, people, that our tomorrow is not guaranteed. There is so much violence going on. I mean, our thoughts and our prayers go out to the families in Highland Park, Illinois, taking your family to watch the most innocent of things, which is a July 4th parade, and having the total carnage break out that did. I just, and so close to home, it's 30 minutes away from me. Highly predominantly Jewish area, so I do believe that they will be bringing in some sort of hate crime, charging him with something like that, because I believe it was either a rabbi or it was somebody high up in the synagogue that was gunned down. We're not guaranteed in this day and age. We go to Walmart. You can't even, we've had Walmart shootings. Kids go to school shootings, church shootings. Please be vigilant. Please have an escape plan when you go to these places. And please, 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 please solidify your foundation in Christ. I can't even drive that home enough.
Neither one of us can. I mean, the only thing we can do is just spread the message. I mean, most of the people that is listening right now has an understanding of what's going on right now.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I mean, if you don't see the signs, there's something wrong with you.
Exactly. Steve wants to come on for just a couple minutes. I just got the message from Steve. Hold on a minute. Yes, you can come on. What you got to say? Come on. Come on, Steve. I'm just going to put him up here with us one of these days.
Yeah, absolutely. The more, the merrier.
What a Maria. No. That's funny. You should say that, Derek. Look at this. He had a dream this morning. I was going to send you something. Oh my gosh, I'm going to send it to you now, Ernie. Only because, you know what? I think it was in our group. Didn't Trisha said something about the water in our group today? Didn't she?
I'm not sure.
I think so. It was a Japanese tanker that split in two.
Oh yes, you're right.
Hi, Steve.
Hello.
What's on your mind, love?
All right. A few things, if that's okay.
Absolutely. You got the floor.
For one, everyone watching, just like Lori said, there's jacked up incidents at Walmart and everything else. Please, if you live in a free state, or if you don't, but yet you've somehow got a firearms permit, please carry a firearm and maintain situational awareness.
Amen.
Please always be aware of your surroundings, not just physically, not just psychologically, but spiritually. Please do that. The time is crucial. Also, Lori, I'm glad you're safe. I was concerned about you the other day when the shooting happened. Now, I just want to tell everyone something. One, we live in troubling times. No, we have not seen the tribulation yet. We are, in fact, leading up to it. No doubts about it. Put on your armor of God. Jesus wanted us to be protected. Carry a firearm and maintain spiritual awareness. Now, that being said, we must look towards Christ and our Father in heaven in order to be safe through these times. Also, if for some reason you need worldly advice or ideology, please look to our anti-federalist founding fathers. Those guys knew what was up, man. George Washington, Samuel Adams, Thomas Jefferson, they knew what was up. They knew about the spiritual warfare aspect back in 1775 or even 1765. They knew what was going on because Ben Franklin, a very prominent anti Federalist founding father, was a member of the British Hellfire Club in England. At the time, England was the superpower. They were conquerors. They were freaking Satanists. All right. Ben Franklin knew it. A lot of others knew it. That was their spiritual defense in establishing this nation because they knew if the colonists fell, if America was not established as a nation, they would have got it then. They would have got their New World Order. They would have got their world government. They would have got everything back in the late 1700s, which the Illuminati Bavarian chapter founder, Dr. Adam Weishaupt, sorry, squirrel moment, was trying to infiltrate everything. Our founding fathers who were anti-federalists knew what was going on spiritually.
Yeah.
They knew exactly what was going on. Look into their doctrines. Look into their doctrines of resistance. Look at Sam Adams. Please. That was the father of the American Revolution. That was the father of the spiritual revolution. His disobedience and his rhetoric is spot on. And yes, people, he was a Christian with Quaker ideologies, but he was a Christian. They knew what was going on. So Alex Jones, yet again, was right. The answer to 1984 is 1776. Now, I'm not talking about going out here and doing anything that could jeopardize anything, but be spiritually vigilant. Because back then, it was spiritual warfare. However, while they did violent rebellion, which violence solve issues then, now is the time to be spiritually vigilant. Because no, like I said, like they've said, we have not seen the tribulation yet. But you put on that armor of God now, before it's too late. I'm trying to get prepared for spiritual warfare. You should all be too. And trust me, I'm a mess. We don the armor of God.
Yeah. And that's why we're here for each other too, as well. You know, I think we build each other up. We give each other, you know, the friendship and the fellowship that we need with one another in these times as well.
Absolutely.
Right.
Iron sharpens iron too. So you gotta keep that in mind. I mean, we all sinned and fell short of the glory of God, but He provided us with the avenue through the precious blood of our Lord and Savior Yeshua HaMashiach, so we can have our covenant. We can be added onto the branch of everlasting life with God. I mean that's one thing we got to realize. And you're definitely on point about using our 2A rights.
Yeah.
I'm firmly in agreement with you on that.
I think if more people exercise their 2A right, we would have less shootings, or we would have less casualties at these shootings.
Exactly, Lori. Exactly. If all law-abiding good citizens. Now, I know amazing people. Just follow me on this. I know amazing people who are atheists. You know, I do not agree with their lifestyle. However, you know, they have a sense of morals, and they carry a firearm. They would never hurt anybody.
Yeah.
I'm a Christian conservative. Well, conservative views, but I'm not a Republican.
Right.
At all.
Right.
I carry a firearm everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, I carry a firearm. Would I hurt anybody unjustifiably? Absolutely not. And I'd say high in the 90th percentile, people like us would never do anything to jeopardize that.
Exactly.
Our Second Amendment right in this country is the most precious constitutional right. It protects all other amendments, and our founding fathers knew that. Our founders, if people would actually stop regurgitating the crap that they learned in high school or middle school about our founders, those guys are pretty on point, man. Like in the video yesterday that you posted about Thomas Paine, I'm not a Thomas Paine fan. I do, however, believe in some of his doctrines. Now, that being said, Thomas Paine, even though he was a Federalist, even wrote in the Federalist Papers, I can't remember which one, I apologize on that. We have to have firearms, the equivalent of the military. Even George Washington stated, and there's a reason for that.
Of course.
Now, I'm not advocating violence. You know, you do you. But the most important thing that we can do is don the armor of God.
Mm-hmm.
You know, trade thy cloak for thy sword and get prepared, get fit, do what you need to do to protect you and your family, because folks, the time is coming. It is. The time is here. Get over there, you know, get in a good Christian church, which is rare to find, unfortunately, since churches have been hijacked, but get in a good fellowship with God, with everyone else, and get right.
Absolutely.
Look to our founders, get with the teachings of Jesus, and get right with everything. We don't have much time left.
Fortunately, we still have the ability to openly profess our faith, but I don't think that'll last too much longer either.
I don't either. You know, they've been, you know, the 501c3 churches, you know, the tax exemption status has been one of those things that has really controlled a lot of the real teachings.
Oh, absolutely.
For decades.
There are 54 things that a 501c3 church cannot legally talk about. They will lose their tax status. They can't talk politics. They can't talk abortion. They can't talk. I mean, there's literally 54 things.
Yep. I went to, if I may, I really don't want to take up too much of y'all's time.
Okay.
I went to Christ United Methodist in the town that I just moved from. Started in 97 and I stopped going in 2010. I have only been to a church one time after that, and that was Veterans Day a few years ago. And the pastor there at that church was amazing. But here's why I quit going to church. Because our pastor was talking about abortion one day, which he was preaching about how wrong it was. Now, this is how corrupt a lot of the church congregations are. He was talking about abortion and how bad it was. Absolutely. I'm agreeing. So during his sermon, I raised my hand, right? And he's like, he called me my middle name, which I won't go into on social media. He's like, you got something to say about it? I was like, yes, Pastor Mark. And he's like, what do you got to say? I was like, abortion was legalized as sacrificial temples to the demon Moloch on top of population control. We all know that, but I was going into the spiritual aspect of it. And so I go into it in what we all know, and he looked at me funny. He was like, yeah, it's definitely of the devil. And I'm looking around at the congregation that, you know, I've been a part of for 13 years at the time, and they looked at me like I had arms growing out of my forehead. So I told my daughter, who was 2.5 at the time, I was like, let's go. And we left.
Yeah.
That's how corrupt churches are. Now, granted, the Methodist church congregations have been divided due to homosexual marriage and stuff, but that's how a lot of churches are. You really speak biblical truth now, you get shunned.
They called Dave a word. I can't remember what it was now. He was contemptuous. Contemptuous, I think he was. Because he was asking questions and he was making everybody feel uncomfortable with his questions.
You see, a lot of the congregation was against abortion, but I spewed the actual truth about what abortion is and what abortion clinics are, which I learned, by the way, Lori, from Doc Marquis. God, I love that guy.
I miss Doc so much.
He was such an amazing person.
Yes, he was.
But he is what woke me up to what abortion clinics really were in one of his sermons. And I'm like, holy crap, I didn't think of that.
Oh, yeah. It was taught to us by the fallen angels.
Yes, he did. He was a brilliant, very well-knowing person, and Doc Marquis, God rest your soul. But you go into a church and try to awaken people, and you get shunned. So if you can find a congregation, people that are accepting and want to know the answers, you are right at home, which unfortunately most aren't. Read your Bible, pray to understand, and have your own personal relationship with God and Jesus through these times. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to anyone else. Read and pray to understand on your own, and be shown the way, because
Test all things. Study to show thyself approved.
absolutely, absolutely. And we all have our spiritual battles. I have them, which I'm going to start. By the way, Lori, I talked to you about this before. I am going to start my channel up on spiritual warfare, because Lord, I have a lot to say and a lot of experiences. But we really have to be aware of everything.
Yep.
Question everything and everyone too. Like,
if you need any help with getting your channel, you just let me know, and I'd be more than happy to help you.
I will, Lori, and I'm not trying to hijack anything from anyone.
Oh,
by the way,
stop, Steve! I love talking to you.
But
you definitely bring something to the table. You're not taking anything away from it.
Well, thank you. It's interesting out there, folks, and we all have our demons that we have to combat. We all have our demons to combat. You can look at the worldly picture all day. You can look at the geopolitical and political spectrum in your own country all day. Combat that. Yes, be aware, be truthful, be righteous in your own ways with that. But I'm going to go away with this. We all have our demons. We all have our demons that we have to face and combat. We all have our issues. And if you can't get right with that, if you can't combat that, then it's a loss. Yeah. And I don't want that out of myself.
Yeah.
And I damn sure don't want it want that loss with any of you guys.
Yeah, there's nobody out there. I mean, even, my enemies, I would wish nothing more than, salvation on them. They, tough world we live in. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Lori. Ernie, I'm going to add you on Facebook if that's okay, man.
That's fine, man. Do it up.
Roger that.
All right. Talk to you soon, love.
All right, bye.
He always has something good to bring to the table. I've never had a bad conversation with him. There's been a couple of people, new people. Steve and I have just recently started talking. Well, not recently, but like kind of in the last recently. And quite a number of other people. And what these guys are bringing to the table and showing, and, like with this, I want to say Georgia Guidestones, you guys were all over it. I want to thank everybody that sent me things. You guys, literally, something happens and boom, I am blowing up on my messenger. And I want to thank you guys, because everything you do send me, I do look at. Everything that, you say, I listen to. So I just want to put a big thank you out there to everybody that supports not only Global Watchman News, but Exposing Satanic World Government, or me personally. I just thank you. So.
Absolutely. And Steve was spot on with everything he said too. Yeah. So, yeah. It's time to suit up.
It is. It is time. The time for being lazy and procrastinating is over. It's go time, guys. So.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to end this for tonight. Sunday night? You available Sunday night?
As of right now, yes.
Okay. Then we'll plan on same time Sunday night. Trying to get back into our kind of a a schedule of event, live streams, hopefully. So we'll be back here Sunday night, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, unless something happens and we have to come in for breaking news. We will always do that if something should arise. So thank you, Ernie.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you to everybody in the chat room. I want to thank the moderators. Thank you to Steve for joining us. And I do want to say that the messenger, the next live, maybe Sunday afternoon or something, if you come in, I will see you and I can help you try to get on with us, and we can iron out the bugs and get you on the panel with us. So, all right, guys, we are going to end this for now. You guys all be safe. And remember, eyes open, no fear.